From the NewsChannel 5 network, this is Sportsline.
Hey there, Titans Talk on your television. I'm Steve Lehman. Glad to have you with us on NewsChannel 5 Plus on a Wednesday night, because we had Tuesday night football here in Music City last night, and what a night it was. It was weird. Just the third NFL game played on a Tuesday since 1946. Actually, the third one was in 1946, so second one since. But you had fans back at a sellout crowd level of 8,403. You had the Titans back on the field after being off for 16 days due to the COVID-19 positive test in the building. Yet they were without several players, including some key guys. No Corey Davis, no Adam Humphries, no Daquan Jones, no Christian Fulton. But they go out on the field against the 4-0 Bills, who are a team that looked, frankly, as good as anybody in the first 4 weeks of the season. And they absolutely gave them the stiff arm. Literally, in Derrick Henry's case. It was an impressive performance last night. Maybe the most impressive performance in my time watching the Titans. I thought the game in Baltimore last year in the playoffs was really, really impressive what they did. But that was different because that was a game where you are surging. You are a hot football team and it's in the playoffs, and they just played as well as they could have, and they won the game. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes you hit the zone. Sometimes you're playing really well. Maybe the other team doesn't play as well. That can happen. But to go through everything this team had done, to be away from the game for 16 days, to be locked out of the facility for 11, to only get back on the practice field really for one full practice, another sort of pseudo practice, and a walkthrough. That's it. That's the only preparation they had. It wasn't even a normal week, let alone throw in the fact that they had 11 days where they were completely locked out before that. I don't know if I've ever seen anything like it. For an NFL team to absorb all of that, to have 8 guys on the COVID-19 reserve list when they walked out onto the field last night, and to be going up against an unbeaten side across the way, wow. It was stunning to sit there. And look, I thought that this team, because I feel like I know them pretty well, and I know Mike Vrabel and his attitude for these types of things, and I think this team, frankly, has reflected his personality a ton, especially in the last year and a half. Once they got through year one, which I think they took on his personality in a big way in year one, but once they got through that first year and now it's really become Mike Vrabel's program, I think they really reflect the attitude of the head coach. And I think that's what you saw last night, and I expected that part. I expected the Titans to come out ready to run through the wall, ready to play for each guy on either side of you. I expected that part. I expected them to be ready. I expected them to start fast even. I expected them to try to punch Buffalo in the mouth. What I did not expect is the ability shorthanded for them to continue that for 60 minutes and for Buffalo not to be able to fight back, not to be able to have an answer at any point. And that's what you saw last night. Right from the very beginning, Malcolm Butler gets an interception on the third play of the game. The Titans score 2 plays later. 2 minutes in, it's 7-0. You cannot script it any better than that. Buffalo scores, Titans get a response. A lot of short fields over the course of the night, and the Titans made it count. 6 for 6 in the red zone to get the job done. And ultimately, the Titans put up a season-high 42 points and they blow out the Bills 42-16, handing Buffalo its first loss of the season. Meanwhile, the Titans somehow, improbably, are 4-0 for the first time since 2008. And oh, by the way, in the process, because there was a ton of talk about this, and we got into it last week, and we covered the possibly illegal off-facility workouts last week on the show. We've talked about some of the hypotheses of how it got into the building or where the Titans maybe fell short on protocols. Look, the NFL investigation is still ongoing, and we don't know everything, and we certainly don't know if there will be a punishment or how big the punishment might be. But everybody had talked about the Titans, and they talked about the 24 cases, and they talked about the 13 players, and they talked about how many people were on the COVID reserve list. And then they talked about, even last night, how many people were still on the COVID reserve list, and could they figure out a way to play? Well, when the Titans took the field last night, they turned everybody's attention from tote board about COVID-19 numbers to scoreboard. 42-16 the final over Buffalo. That's what they did last night, and if you were on social media or you watched the post-game coverage on any network, everybody talked about the job Mike Vrabel did and the culture the Titans have. And again, I thought that culture was there because I see it every day and I talk to him every day. That said, I wasn't sure that even the culture could overcome what they had to overcome, and they did it in an incredible way last night. It was a very, very good performance. And here's the other thing. We all thought if they're going to win this game, they're going to have to do it muddy, right? They're going to need Derrick Henry to claw it out and rush 35 times for 200 yards. And that's how they're going to beat these Bills. That didn't happen. Buffalo loaded the box because they probably thought the same thing. They threw 8 and 9 guys in there and said, we're going to slow down 22. We're going to make everybody else beat us, and we believe we can score against that defense. So Derrick Henry runs for 57 yards on 19 carries. That was it. He did get 2 touchdowns, but that was it. And the Titans didn't control the game by running. But they got 3 turnovers. They now lead the NFL in turnover margin at +8. That's huge. And the offense did it in other ways. A.J. Brown came back, caught a touchdown, had 7 catches. Jonnu Smith, 2 touchdowns. He already has 5 touchdowns through the first 4 games of the season. He's one of the most explosive tight ends in all of football. Offensive line did its job. And I need to single out Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill won the game for the Titans last night because he managed it perfectly. He made no mistakes. And as the Bills looked to take away Henry, Tannehill said, okay, you're going to take away that. I'm going to take this from you. And he found different receivers, some of whom were on the practice squad when this whole ordeal began, but had to play last night because of the number issues. He found Brown, he found Smith, and he just moved the Titans up the field. When they got in positions to score, they were perfect. Franchise record 6 for 6 in the red zone. Ryan Tannehill did his job. 3 touchdown passes. He also ran for 1. The only thing he didn't do well last night was the celebration of his touchdown run. He did the old finger roll going into the end zone. He crashed on the landing. Said it was embarrassing. Not nearly as embarrassing as what the Titans did to the Bills last night. Remember, the Bills had been practicing the entire time. They were completely healthy. Yet the Titans roughed him up. No more so than Henry. One thing he did do, although it doesn't even go into the stat book as an official play, was that stiff arm on Josh Norman where he sent him flying as if he was a member of the Bills Mafia crashing on a cardboard table or something. An unbelievable performance by the Titans last night. And now they are 4-0. Not a lot of time to celebrate. Got to get back to work. Another short week coming with the Texans in town for a game on Sunday at noon. I guess the one thing you're happy for right now as a Titans fan is the fact that no travel's involved here. The Titans have dealt with all of this, but they've been able to stay home. They were able to play this game on Tuesday night at home. They'll be able to play a game on Sunday against the Texans at home. All of that is good. And somehow this team is 4-0. And if I circle back to Tannehill, yes, he was great last night. Yes, he's a big reason they won 42-16 last night. But he's also a major reason they are 4-0 this year. He's a major reason they did what they did last year. I mean, think about it. Derrick Henry this year, he's got a bunch of carries. He's got a fair amount of yards through 4 games. But there have been none of those explosive Derrick Henry blow you away type of runs and plays that we saw so much towards the end of last season and previous years. He just hasn't gotten going like that because so much attention has been paid towards him. But Tannehill hasn't missed a beat. He's been as effective, if not more so, than he was last year. And so now you look at the total number. Since he took over in Week 7 last year as the Titans starting quarterback, we've now played 14 regular season games. In that time, Ryan Tannehill is 11-3 as the Titans starting quarterback. 31 touchdowns, just 6 interceptions, and an NFL best passer rating of close to 117. Those aren't just good numbers, those are great numbers. And they compare up there with anybody you want to compare them to in the league. Aaron Rodgers, sure. Lamar Jackson, sure. How about Patrick Mahomes, Super Bowl MVP? You know what he is in the last 14 regular season games? 11-3, just like Ryan Tannehill. You know how many touchdown passes he's thrown in the last 14 regular season games? 28, 3 less than Ryan Tannehill. Interceptions, 6 versus 6. Passer rating, just told you Tannehill. Mahomes, very respectable, but at 102. Tannehill's numbers match up with anybody in the league. In many cases, are better. And that is why the Titans have gone from a team that was 2-4, 6 weeks into the season last year, to a team that went on a run, got into playoffs, and then went all the way to the AFC Championship game, and now has started 4-0 despite everything that's happened. And he said last night, when you look at everything that's happened, the Titans have had a lot of satisfying wins since Tannehill's taken over as the starting quarterback. But to paraphrase him, when you go through everything that this organization has gone through over the last couple of weeks, and you hear all the talk from the outside, and everybody blaming people within the organization and the players for what they did or didn't do, but you're able to circle the wagons and you're able to come out and you're able to beat a team like that in the way they did it and shut everybody up, at least for a night. Stick together, fight through it, win a football game. That's making a statement. He's right. Last night, the Titans made a statement that no matter what happens, this team is sticking together. No matter who's available, they believe they can go out and compete, and they believe they can win. And last night, I'm not sure how many people believed that the Titans could win, but the guys inside the locker room did. Their coach did. They went on the field for a mission to accomplish that goal and to prove everybody else wrong. And they did. And now the Titans are 4-0. Our phone lines are open. 737-7767 is the number. We'd love to hear from you tonight. Call us up. Get in on the program. What did you think about the game last night? What did you think about the performance? What do you think about where this team stands right now? And I'm not just talking about on top of the AFC South standings, but just what do you think of where they are 1 quarter through the season? Lots of football left to be played. But you've seen a bunch from this team now. You've got a pretty good idea of who they are. What do you think? Call us up. Be a part of the program. 737-7767 is the number. We'll take a break. We will come back. Much more Titans talk on the way here on this Wednesday night on NewsChannel 5+.